Hello everyone, today we are going to explore a truly amazing story, the story of how life began on our planet Earth. Imagine a time long, long ago before there were any people, animals, or even plants. The Earth was a very different place back then. In this video, we'll use simple words and fun pictures to help you understand how life started. So let's take a slow and exciting journey together to discover the origin of life. Let's go back in time about 4.5 billion years ago. That's when Earth was born. At first, our planet was just a hot ball of rock and gas. There were no oceans, no trees, and no living things at all. The sky was filled with thick clouds and volcanoes were everywhere. It was a wild and stormy place, but it was the beginning of something special. After millions of years, the Earth started to cool down. Rain began to fall, and it rained for a very long time. The rain filled up the low places on Earth, making the first oceans. These oceans were huge and covered most of the planet. Now, Earth had water, which is very important for life. Inside these early oceans, there were lots of tiny bits of different chemicals. Scientists call this the primordial soup. Imagine a big, warm soup with all sorts of ingredients floating around. These ingredients were things like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. They are the building blocks for everything that is alive today. Just having the right ingredients wasn't enough. Something needed to mix them together. That's where energy comes in. Energy from lightning, volcanoes, and even sunlight helped the chemicals in the soup join together. This was like a spark that started a very special recipe. With the help of energy, the chemicals began to form tiny building blocks called molecules. Some of these molecules were very special. They could make copies of themselves. These self-copying molecules are like the great-great-grandparents of all living things. Soon, some of these molecules join together to make tiny bubbles. These bubbles are called cells. A cell is like a tiny bag that holds all the important parts needed for life. Every living thing, from the smallest bug to the tallest tree, is made of cells. The very first living things on Earth were tiny cells. They were so small you would need a microscope to see them. These first cells could eat, grow, and make more cells just like themselves. They lived in the oceans and slowly began to change and get better at living. Some of these tiny cells learned a new trick. They could use sunlight to make food. This is called photosynthesis. By using sunlight, these cells made oxygen, which slowly filled the air and made it possible for new kinds of life to appear. As more and more cells made oxygen, the Earth's air changed. Now there was enough oxygen for new and different living things to grow. This was a big step in the story of life, because oxygen helps animals and people breathe. After a long, long time, some cells started working together. They formed groups and shared jobs. This made life more complex. Now there were living things made of many cells, not just one. These new creatures could do more things and live in more places. Some of these groups of cells became the first simple animals. They lived in the oceans and could move around to find food. These animals were very different from the animals we know today, but they were the start of something big. Not long after, the first plants appeared. These plants lived in water and used sunlight to make their own food. Plants helped make even more oxygen, which was great for all living things. For a long time, all life lived in the oceans. But then, some brave plants and animals started to move onto land. This was a huge change. Now, Earth had green plants and crawling animals on its land, not just in the water. As time went on, life kept changing and growing. Some animals became very big, like the dinosaurs. There were also many other creatures, big and small, living all over the Earth. Life was now everywhere. After the dinosaurs, new animals called mammals appeared. Mammals are warm-blooded and have hair or fur. Some mammals lived in trees, some on the ground, and some even in the water. They were the ancestors of many animals we see today. Much later, a special kind of mammal appeared, people. Humans are very good at thinking, making tools, and working together. We are part of the long story of life that started with tiny cells in the ocean. All living things, from the smallest bug to the tallest tree, share some things in common. They can grow, change, and make more of themselves. Life is always changing and finding new ways to survive. The story of life is not over. Even today, living things are changing and evolving. New species appear and old ones sometimes disappear. Life is always moving forward, finding new ways to live on our amazing planet. Every living thing on Earth is connected. We all share the same planet and the same history. From tiny cells to people, we are all part of one big family called life. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. The story of life is full of surprises and wonders. Who knows what new things we will discover in the future? Remember, life began with a tiny spark, and now it fills our whole world with amazing creatures, plants and people, just like you.